I'm rewatching a lot of Mooney videos as of late. They're great videos after all.
Global video games industry was around $159.3 billion in the year 2020.
Actually, there's some new videos I want to watch. I'll rewatch later.
1 year ago, I made a video called The Missing Colors of Minecraft. I looked at the existing block colors and tried to find colors that were not represented by any block. That video became my first successful episode, and at the time, I only had about 200 subscribers. I picked those colors just by looking to see where the biggest gaps were. Doing this mathematically would be much more comprehensive. I also did this in RGB color space. Its values are evenly spaced out for red, green, and blue, but that's not evenly spaced out for our eyes. I recently did a video on the OK Lab space, and that is a much better space to do this in. I'm recording this episode as I do each part, so I'm not sure where we're going to end up at. Let's find the real missing colors.
Let's see how
Minecraft.
useful
These are the full range of colors most monitors
all these
display,
equipments
arranged in
are.
the OK Lab space. These colors here started out as evenly distributed in RGB, but what I need is a grid of evenly distributed colors in OK Lab. So I'm going to make a grid of points that encapsulates all of these colors here, and then convert that back into RGB. And here it is. This is all of the lab colors, and then over here are all of the RGB values. All values less than 0 or greater than 255 can't be displayed, and I'm just going to delete that point. Then I wrote a function.
Alright, there's just
Points
these.
that will display a text sense for every color. Okay, this seems fine. I think it looks like it's in place.
They're infinite, so they never finish.
Okay, so everything's inside. This
Great, you just accept them and then you have the item forever. That also technically means we're never gonna finish the... What a weird guy. Let's see the base camp first, I guess.
Okay, function for all of these into RGB space.
We're gonna meet a guy.
Some arcs like everywhere. I guess that's to be expected. Put the box in.
We quickly established this base camp in the hope that it would aid in navigating the Isle of
So the
Solitude.
next step is
All capable adventurers have already begun exploring the labyrinth we found. Interestingly enough, an adventurer from Tharsis said it looked familiar. That's because apparently the first dungeon, the Eastern Shrine, does not count. It's just a prologue. This first dungeon is literally just the same first dungeon as in the fourth game, or fifth. Funny. In Tarsus, they called it the Lush Woodlands, so that's what we're calling it here. Why are Yggdrasil's labyrinths converging here? The mystery deepens. So we can still go here. I hope I don't have to waste an Ariadne thread because of this. Okay, it's literally just... Alright, so these dungeons are really big. If the entrance is over there and then this geomagnetic pole takes us all the way to the other side, to the Isle of Solitude, then how big is a single tile? I mean, we know time passes, an hour passes after like every 20 step or turns. That's pretty wacky. Anyway, we can just touch this without consequences. Let's go, Lush Woodlands. I'm pretty sure the layout isn't exactly the same, obviously. Oh no, this is from the fourth game. I recognize this.
They won't get counted, and then we'll move to a new area. And then do that for the next one, next one, next one. I'm going to do that 16 times, and that's how we're going to get to our 16 most distinct colors. Okay, so I've iterated that 16 times. Let's see what the colors are. And
It'd be like revisiting some unfamiliar old home. For the guild, I'd imagine.
So they're all very saturated colors. If we wanted to make a block at this average color, can't use any colors
Who?
that are less saturated. So we can't use any colors down here.
うちの
We
連れ
can
はこ
only
の通り
combine
でかくてね
colors like basically
本当
on
に
the
すまないね君
surface.
た
If
ち
you add anything else, it's gonna an average color.
見慣れない顔だけどここは初めてかい
It's a different rendition, though. I like it.
おっとその前に自分から
Again, as of me playing this, I haven't played 4 and 5 yet. I've decided I wanted to play Nexus first.
俺はオリバーだ。強靭さと力が武器の
But canonically, Uriai went through every Etrian Odyssey game in order of release. By number, essentially.
知識と分析が武器の僕
So a Zodiac and a Lance Snatch, or maybe a Protector.
ああ普通なら 1+1 で2だが俺たちコンビの力はその倍はある普通のパーティーより強力だと覚えておけ
If you say so.
だと5人パーティーより弱いけどね
Yeah, it really bugs me how all the minor characters never bring a party of 5. And they somehow still make it. Like Klatchga and her girlfriend from the first game. Although I get in the second game, that guy did kinda die. Spoilers. For Uriai. Only women. Well, there's a trans person and then one of the new recruits apparently underwent surgery and stuff. Transition. Just so she could be part of us. But hey, the Uriai Guild probably wouldn't be opposed to letting a trans man come in as well. At this point, Uriai is probably just a home for transgender people at this point. More so than it is a Yuri Fest. Statistically, it should be males who are most likely to be trans. I'm pretty sure, so I guess the Misfits thing still fits here. This rails.
Oh?
Of course. Right, that's the full thingy. Yen isn't the currency in the game. Although they shorten it to yen, it's yental, or maybe it's just antal. And it is a gold currency, it's not fiat.
へえ
I don't wanna. What? What do you see in the old lady? Alright, fine, we'll let some men tag the party for now. Why not? Is this gonna be a common occurrence? We're always gonna have some sub-companions with us? Not a fan, honestly. I was fine with Brigitte since that was technically just supposed to be the tutorial. Her after rounds healing are very useful, so you can technically start the game without even so much as a healer. Like afterwards I thought they were gonna stop, but apparently not.
Down further and
So what do they do?
We do have a lot of separate.
Do they actually just sit around commentating like freaking Speedwagon?
So you can have interesting textures and still have a lot of saturation to it. I think I'm going to do another round of 16 colors and see what the next set looks like. The second set still has a lot of these saturated colors, but we also see like this clustering up here beads where we're actually starting to have.
May as well continue using Taunt Assassins.
I really like that. It really shows how much we're lacking in light bead colors without having to use these weird line colors.
In a way, I guess Eos is trade.
So one more set of 16.
She's only part of Uriai because she's worried for Iya.
Another one start getting some colors.
As a superior, she says.
Okay, third iteration.
敵が来たぞ
Let's see. If
Oh hey, it's these guys. Do they have over 100 hit points as well?
Let's see the colors.
Let's go all out, shall we?
It's actually close to some colors. So last time I tried to stay a little bit saturated colors. The builder saturated colors. Easier to blend in with things. So let's try to make me. Use the charm. This is where I'm out of stuff.
Yeah, that certainly seems to be the case. They have defense for the defense to back it up too.
Except trying to restrict separated
時間
blocks.
の無駄だった
So I'm
ね
just gonna force it to pick some blocks that are in closer towards the other. I just think it might be interesting.
これは
Okay, also it's a little bit less saturated. I only restricted it by about 10%. But it does have a noticeable difference. I think. These are actually closer to colors I picked last
Really?
So
All it took was one fight for us to immediately notice a difference?
are
That's not very scientific. Should have a control group and have a large sample size for something this random and all that good shit.
I ended up doing two different displays because I have to display color differently depending on what you are using. On the left here, I have text entities for set 1, 2, 3, and then 4. And this is actually showing you the true color, at least as well as your monitor. On the right, using blocks.
Should still be fairly straightforward. This is still just the early dungeons.
That doesn't really matter for everything I did over here because you're only dealing with the numbers of the textures.
They aren't gonna immediately hit us with navigational puzzles, are they?
Trying to actually make something look like
At the very least, not on the first floor.
Colors from the color each one of the sets, so all are the closest. So technically, wanted to string them all together. Here, down to the back to the top, down, back to the set. One last thing I want to do is compare the colors I picked last year to the ones that I picked this year. So I loaded all of last year's colors in as a circle. And I loaded the closest color to this year as a square. Several sets of colors from last year are closest to a single color from
まだい
this
け
year.
ます
Most of the colors last year were actually closest to the colors in set 3. And I think I know why.
Stop hitting Mara,
終わらせるぞ
I wasn't really trying to find the most specific points.
you
I
assholes.
scanned all those in so that this palette would be more. This would help with blending and jittering.
Oh my god.
Third one this year, all of the outer colors had already been picked, and that the worst colors would be in more. I think
At least ES isn't alone anymore.
than trying to find the most distinct colors, the most extreme colors. I'll think about how to do that. I have to pick a color only between existing points, but also has a large gap.
Those are still very
So
rare.
Stick around for next year's exciting end of the missing color tree. I'll put the hex codes for all the colors in the description, as well as the little download so you can set this stuff yourself. I added some command blocks on the platform up there. Trigger. It's just the same world that I used on color video, so those things are up there too. Oh, by the way, these colors here, these blocks are done with a resource pack. These are actually technically real stretched out candles. And so there is 2. So that's how I kind of did this right here. So I will also include resource pack. Hold down though, so that
Maybe it's just the way the emulator makes it look, or some other thing, but I kind of don't like the visual clarity of the dungeons for the 3DS era games. I mean, I know the HD remasters on PC make everything look way better, but the DS, I think, still had better graphics, at least in terms of clarity and making sure you knew where you were going. I keep missing shortcuts and stuff, or almost missing shortcuts and even simple paths. I also don't like the way the walls are laid super thick. But again, this is the layout on the 3D on Persona Q as well. I'm just pointing it out. Whose smart idea was this? Why is everything so tanky? Yeah, bye.
Paper Mario is a franchise adored by Nintendo fans. Ever since the original Paper Mario on the N64 came out, Nintendo fans have claimed that this is the Mario series is their all-time favorite. Specifically, the combat system. This turn-based system is only present in the first two games of the series, the N64 version and the Thousand Story. However, the last Paper Mario that featured this turn-based system was 2004. What happened after that? Well, Super Paper Mario. This is when Paper Mario...
Use the trees in this forest secrete a surprisingly sweet sap.
The game had a lot of...
As such, there's a large monster here that's a big fan of this sap. It's likely that all the damaged trees here are due to the monster.
However, I'm here today to tell everyone why Super Paper Mario is the best Paper Mario game today.
Doesn't seem to be here at the moment, but we'd best tread lightly from here on.
First of all, the thing this game had going for it was the ideas. Lots of ideas and love was poured into this game. That doesn't really show until you beat in 2-3. Oh, 2-3? Yeah, this game took the idea of a world system, much like the 2D Mario, where each world or chapter has 4 levels in it. It's a level and you progress to the next one. The first two Paper Marios did have chapters in it, but nothing like this. You can see that the developers really wanted to make this game feel like a 2D Mario, but at the same time feel something new. What do I mean by new? Well, I mean flipping. See, this game's main mechanic is flipping from 2D to 3D. Now, I love this concept. It gets really crazy with the puzzles involving this forming. Now, sometimes it can be a real pain with building
I don't get it.
dimensions because all the characters
Whatever.
have
I'll deal with the
different abilities.
inconvenience, I suppose.
Only Mario does, which makes Mario stand out from the rest of the characters. Speaking of characters, this game allows you to not just play as Mario, but 3 other characters as well. This includes Princess Peach, Bowser, and Luigi.
Yeah, I have
And
Ariadne.
they said Bowser's inside story was fun because it allowed them to play Bowser. Plus, most of these characters are unlocked right away. Well, most of them anyway. Luigi. Luigi has become the star of the show in this game. At first, he seems kicked to the curb again in favor of Mario. However, as you progress through the story, you find out that Luigi has been taken over by the dark side and is now against you. Throughout the course of the story, you fight the mysterious Mr. L to progress. Then you find out that Mr. L was in fact
Oh boy, here they are.
to the underwear. From there,
FOEs.
Luigi finally becomes your partner, only to betray them and become the final boss. Yes, Luigi is the final boss of this game. Remember how I talked about the underwear?
Cool, they aren't just floating balls of light now.
This last part,
They're taking full advantage of the 3D
story of this game
and the
is-
stronger hardware.
but not many people experience the best part of the story. The story goes as the evil Count Black decides to destroy every single world.
Oh no! I didn't think its territory reached this far. Should we retreat, Uri Guild?
From destroying all the worlds. It becomes super clear that this is your goal, so you figure it will spawn and become black.
Hey, it's no big deal. Just watch where it's going and don't run into it. That's all you gotta do.
See, people in Chapter 6 don't realize that they could all die from the void looming above, so they challenge Mario to a bunch of fights in order to get their precious treasure, the Pure Heart. However, it becomes too late. The world gets destroyed and you are teleported outside to the world. Enter through the door again and only to find that nothing else remains. Just a blank, empty space. Walk for a long time, not able to do anything until you eventually reach the Pure Heart. However, there to stop you is Mr. Elegant. After doing it down one of Count Black's minions, Dimentio secretly kills Mr. L. After getting the Pure Heart, it is realized that his power is completely drained from the destruction of the world. However, Dimentio appears and kills Mario, Luigi, and Bowser. Mario wakes
Hell
up
yeah, I knew it.
not knowing what lies ahead. From there, he meets the Queen of the Underwear, and the Queen restores the Pure Heart. However, before that, Mario meets up with Luigi, and together they escape the Underwear. Soon after, Mario meets up with Bowser, and they can get the final Pure Heart. Now that all the Pure Hearts are collected, the final boss lies ahead. Count Black
I have
Mario
time for
fights
these
off Count
bastards.
Black, and together with his friends, he manages to do so. However, not long after that, Dimentio appears and betrays Count Black. Dimentio also takes control of Luigi and binds together, thus creating the final boss. Luigi is saved in the end, and all the world is saved. If this doesn't scream good story, I don't know what does. However, this good story is only seen at the end of the game. There are some good parts of this game, like the dating simulator, the dialogue, etc. However, nobody experienced playing the game. Stop at chapter 3. Why? Because this is literally the worst chapter in the entire game. Most people don't like this puzzle because one of the Count Black's minions, Mini, assigns you to collect 1 billion fruits to pay over the days. Many people decide to give up because they can't figure out what to do and the directions seem very unclear. Not to mention, they already don't aim of a lack of a turn-based system. It's a shame the game is very good, but many people forgot to experience it all the way. However, I entirely disagree and have to agree that Super Paper Mario is the best Paper Mario game to date. Thank you all for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. But also tell me in the comments what you think of Mario. Until next time. Bye.
殲滅するぞ
Wow, old symbols is weird. They're older, not old person.
What is this? This is modern dancing. But I don't like it. Stop it. But we worked so hard on it. Should have stuffed it with tea. Well, okay, we'll get back to the tea. Don't bother. This isn't working out yet. It always happens. Every now and again I get new servants, and looks like the time has come once again. Two have been brave and fun. But now it's like it's time for
Yes. Yes.
now to look for some new replacements. I'll just do what I did last
来るの
time.
かマルコ
Like two random kids and brainwash them. That always works. Time to head to the outside world. Yes, just like how I remember. Now then, find some children to take home. Then we can get some cheat your own food pieces along with tamarind burritos before we go home. This one's fine. I'll pick him. This one's very cute. I'll take her too. I'm always getting there. How about I try for backup dancers this time? But I've got my hands full. I better get one of those trash bags so I can carry them better. Oh look, one of my loyal worshippers. But I'm afraid you're too old to serve any further purpose. But feel free to sacrifice yourself in my honor. 2 more sacrifices and I get a coupon for a free yogurt.
Put those things down right now.
Hey, finders keepers. Find your own kids to turn into servants. I don't know what's your problem, but you're getting on my nerves. Some servants just don't hurt.
Yes.
Honey. What are you doing? I'm just shopping for new servants.
Yes, I was afraid of that. Okay. I'll just keep taking children whenever you want.
Why not? I do it all the time.
You shouldn't take anyone else's their own. Got to put those kids down and return to Gensokyo before you get in trouble.
What do you mean get in trouble?
Can't just take a pair of random kids off the streets and brainwash them. That's not something people respect you for. That's called kidnapping.
Oh yeah, I know all about kids snapping. But don't worry, you'll get one after their brainwashing is done. Tends to knock them out.
Kidnapping is taking a person against their will. That's a crime.
If some random mortal does it, perhaps, but since I'm a goddess, if I take away these kids, it's not a crime. It's a blessing.
No, it isn't. What you're doing is wrong.
I don't understand. Do you mean?
You are forcefully removing 2 children from their homes and families. How else could that be interpreted?
No, I meant, what does that word you used mean? That word wrong.
Stop fooling around with friends. Don't you know the difference between good and bad? Do you know what it means to be a good person? Okay, I'm starting to believe that dementia or are just a sociopath. In that case, let me get this way. When you do good things, people like you. When you do bad things, people do not like you. People worship gods because they do good
何かあるようだね。
If you do bad things, people
Considering how tough that first boss was, I'm pretty sure fighting FLEs are just genuinely a bad idea right now.
taking kids away is a bad thing. That means people will stop worshipping you and you die. Do you want to die? No. Then I suggest you put those 2 kids down and come back to Gensokyo before we find out what you are doing.
But I still need backup dancers.
Then how about instead of kidnapping children, have auditions?
Cool.
and
An
instead-
adventurer helping box.
How about
It's symbolic for how fellow adventurers should help each other out.
exchange for their loyalty?
And, practically speaking, we all have limited carrying space.
But
So
I
using
don't
this
want
is much
to.
better than
I guess
destroying
I'll
away
just
useful
drop
goods.
these kids off then. Look, there's a food truck. Let's get something to eat.
Not for me. Their food is nasty.
Hey, don't call it that. It's good.
Put too much grease on
Sure,
the
I'll put in an Ariadne thread.
A lot of food outside world is like that.
The people got to eat. No.
Yes, but I don't have to eat this slow. I'd rather be back than eat something that is actually
I think this is the proper symbol we're supposed to use.
Especially coming from you who takes
Yeah.
outsiders back to Jetsukio to feed the yokai.
That is a groundless rumor based on hearsay. Don't believe everything in the wiki.
And at least let me get something. I want a torta.
Quite fine. If you want to get a heart attack, then by all means, go ahead.
I also want a quesadilla along with a Mexican cola. They use actual cane sugar, you know.
Why don't you just order a fried rat while you're at it? You probably
敵だ。
instead of one considering.
They literally do nothing. Oh! So playing on expert is a terrible idea still.
見てろよまだだぜくらえ俺の勝ちだ
おや
効果が切れたみたいだよ。
The amount of characters you can put in Sync has remained the same, it seems. I see. I quite like this layout. Oh, heading back to town. We'll wait here then. Make sure you're prepared.
解散だね。
はあ、任せとけ。はあ、なんだよ。どうするの？いってらっしゃい。いらっしゃい。なんじゃ、お主たちか。
Funny song.
何にするのじゃ？
Ooh, a sling. It's a traditional Filipino weapon.
今後ともよろしく頼むぞ。
I kinda wanna try expanding,
来たな。
although that still seems like a bit of an uphill battle. Not bad. I think they earned pretty much the exact same XP, just slightly less. Similar to how the mods for Etrian Odyssey changes to combat study. I'll be right back, I need water. Alright, let's consider a sub-team real quick. That much should be realistic for our funds, at the very least. The sorting skill seems like the best thing for these guys. The ability to hold more items is really awesome. Physical and elemental. They don't have any elemental attacks. Revenge bomb, I guess. That's kinda useless. Mystic Calm is still here, but it's locked an expert. Way late into the game. That's a useless force. Well, May. Ooh. Twice attack. Secondary team. I'll come up with more specialized teams soon enough, maybe. But right now, I still need to learn more about the game, and I kind of just want to try out other classes. I'm sure I'll have Emily and Bailey together once again as a farming team to make up a farming team. Yeah, let's come up with a farming team actually. Which should consist of Eosk, Vale, Bailey and Emily, and then I mean, Eosk should provide more than enough offensive utility on her own. She'll cover for everyone's damage pretty much, but will this be good? Prevent Order's kind of our only defense against ailments for this team. That or items which kind of would defeat the purpose. Perhaps XP grinding and money grinding should be separated. This'll do, I suppose. Hopefully. And then just one more team. Or not. Honestly, I could just level everyone up right now. Dismiss blow. On her line, so she has to risk being in the front line. She wants to heal someone else's binds. Do I have Umag in a team? I could just try grinding right now, honestly.
他には気をつけるように。いらっしゃい。おや、君たち。ん？それでね。いやいやいや、冗談冗談。
I kind of felt that that was a thing, but it's nice to have it confirmed as a thing that exists. Oh, nice. They know. A sovereign. Ooh. I completely forgot to.
いらっしゃい。それじゃ聞かせてくれる？
The hell's heavenly gift?
ん？やれやれ。
受け取ってよ。
Holy shit!
喜ばしいことだ。やったぞ。
どうするのや、何を報告するんだい？ しっかりね。
何か用か。どうするのだ。
I really need to decide on an actual main team because I really don't like this. This team was specifically focused on just taking care of the beginning, but now we don't need to worry about that anymore.
他にはどうするの？誰を呼ぶのだ。
Let's make a real starter team. I don't like Eosk, although she is quite strong. I think I will keep Shie. I like her quite a lot. And I don't want Teosra. She's a nuker, but she runs out of TP real quick and she's useless most of the time unless you know how to properly use her, and that's just a lot of effort. Veil is obviously indispensable. Honestly, Mara should be all we need for elemental application, so I should just focus on the rest of the elements. I could have Luvobi so I have a puncher. The binds could also be useful. Although honestly, I might get away with having Mayara as my only other healer. Cover support and medic bullet are really great at sounding. Remove ailments and HP restore all in one. It's like I can't bind with Veil, unbind with Veil yet anyway, so those will continue to be a bit of a pain. There aren't even any items we can buy that restores those yet either. Whoa. Kinda wanna try the War Magus as well. They were kinda, I felt they were kinda useless in Action Odyssey 2. They can make a comeback here. Because I do want ailment application as well. I want to, I could use Ralxa. But then I'd have too much support and not enough offense. I need more offense. All Chosra really does is do magic damage. Which, you know, kinda sucks. I could keep Shie. The hero class is honestly a really good class. Absurdly good. Again, I don't think Umag is all that useful. In order for her to be useful, she needs to be fast. But that means not giving her enough defenses. Because, like, why bother when I can just heal? Why bother with shielders? Highlander seems like a pretty good offensive class. They can go on the back as well, since they use spears. Land Snatch. I could try Alma. They seem pretty powerful and they can do ailment. Blind and Sleep for now. Both are pretty good, I'd say. And she's got pretty good survivability too. And I can try Ralxa. These guys can go in the back, and they specialize in debuffs, which is nice. Paralyze, attack, and defense are all very good, I'd say. And they can party heal. I just realized I actually still have two slots remaining. Bailey is not someone I'm keeping. Here I was thinking I only had one slot left to play with. I think I'm keeping Moa. I could have Ralksa instead. Passive healing she does is definitely gonna be really nice. Moa still has an all-party heal in the form of Atonement, and it can even remove ailments. I wonder how defensive these guys can be. It's kind of a toss-up for me between Iyusk and Chie now. I do want some utility regarding targets. Who can provide those? ES1, or Iyusk rather. Umag is another one who I don't really want to bring. Maybe it just won't matter. Ah, yeah, I can bring Alma. I don't think it'll matter. Chie, Mara, Mayar, and Moa, all four of them can heal. Yeah, this is the team. Is there value in keeping this team? I'll put this main team in set 5 for now, I suppose. I don't think it was a bad idea. I'm keeping this save. I'm getting the rewards for the XP rewards individually. This way, I think it's better. But I guess I can save in a different slot just in case I regret it. That's a lot of money. That is significantly less XP.
どうするのかな。しっかりね。
あ、お客さんはなんだよ。
Oh, look how much HP Luvobi has for her level. Let's bring out the grinding team. I want everyone to at least be level 10. I'll go with that as a goal for now.
どうするのだ。他に何気をつけるように。
いらっしゃい。なんじゃ、お主たちか。なんじゃ。
What? Increases XP gained. I can sell it for money, and it does cost quite a lot, but honestly, that seems like a bad idea. If just having this in my inventory increases my XP.
Oh, お主たちか。
Ah, if it isn't the Yuri Guild. I hear your ruins excursion really paid off. Something about discovering a new area. Allow me to give you some advice on that.
I already read this, actually. Right now, I believe Bailey's ability to increase inventory is not very valuable to get right now. So I'll hold off on getting that. Let's get this to level 3.
よし。
Going around at night seems like a good idea. when farming. Ah, interesting. Forgot, but Tailshare could technically also be really good for grinding. What, this skill kinda sucks. Why would I want that? Yes, well, there's nothing else good to get. Don't Nintendo 64 force me to use this.
何にするのじゃ？
I can give a rapier to Mara if I wanted. I kinda want to.
何にするのじゃ？うむ。
Oh, farmers sure can use a lot. They can fucking use guns. Excuse me? I don't remember seeing a peasant carrying a Glock around them at all times. Last I fucking checked. Why not? So she can run turn 1 with the agility boost. Probably give it to Mayara later. We have to be efficient with our money. Yeah, we can also use scythes. Wow. Again, though, be efficient.
Sate sate, 何のご用かの? 何にするのじゃ? 装備を変えるのかや? 装備を変えるのかや? 何にするのじゃ? 家事をするんじゃな。
Oh yeah, I already have a falsata. Frick.
家事をするんじゃな。なんじゃ? 家事をするんじゃな。家事をするんじゃな。今後ともよろしく頼むぞ。あ、お客さんいらっしゃいませ。夕方まででいいの？任せとけ。はあ、さて、もう一眠り。
頼んだぞ。
Well, if it only lasts 5 turns, what's stopping me from just... doing this? Oh, very good.
おや
効果が切れたみたいだよ。気をつけて。
敵が来たぞ。
行きまどうもです。ごめんなさい。これで最後ですわ。元気になれ。にゃあ、はい。
危険は少ない相手だ。
Why did it tell me that?それ。はっ、諦めませんよ。どうぞです。それ。これで最後ですわ。まだまだいけます。 I see. It lets me know secret paths as well.
やれやれ。
敵だな。
Just realized the main team I came up with doesn't have a way to revive. So I'll be reliant on Nectars. Whoops.
諦めませんよ。最後ですか？くらえ。へい、それ。
$9.3 billion in the year 2020. By comparison, the revenue of the global music industry was valued at $19.1 billion, and the global film industry was valued at $41.7 billion, which means that the market for video games was 2.5 times larger in 2020 than music and cinema put together. Fun fact, in 2020, Animal Crossing New Horizons made $2 billion in revenue alone. That's right. Animal Crossing was worth a little over 1/10 of the entirety of music. The 2023 Quarter 3 forecast of the global games market shows a projected revenue of $187 billion, a substantial increase.
Ooh, here we go. It's time to finally learn how this thing works. Can you see that, Yuri? That shining spot is a gathering point.
That video game hardware sales had increased by a whopping.
Gathering points are made up of take, mine, and chop points, and they all yield different items. No need to think too hard about it, though. Just gather whatever you can whenever you come across it. If you've got any gathering skills, you might find something rare.
Each of the years between 2023 and 2027. In light of all of these optimistic reports of the video games industry, why then are we seeing so many layoffs in game dev studio?
No, it works exactly like how it works in Infinite Adventures now. Bruh.
Media sites have been hit with substantial layoffs this year, including some of the biggest names in the industry. Naughty Dog, Epic Games, Blizzard, Roblox, Gearbox, BioWare, CD Projekt Red, Embracer Group, Ubisoft, Doom Interactive, EA, NetEase, and...
They aren't as lucrative for farming money anymore.
We saw Volition, Fear, Saints Row franchise, like Video Games Layoffs.com estimates that the industry has laid off an estimated 7,800 employees as of November 16th. The entire industry looks like it's on the brink of collapse. But why? Why is this? If the market for video games is better than ever, the demand is greater than ever. Why does it seem like the video games industry is collapsing? Shouldn't it be thriving? Isn't this basic market phenomenon? Understanding what's really going on requires putting together many separate things that make much of market. Is the video games industry collapsing? No, it's not all of it. Most of the industry will lay off. The failure, these are pockets of our failure. Affected the industry. But first, if the highly illogical nature of the video games industry has you feeling a little spacey, why not check out today's sponsor, Star Trek Fleet Command. Star Trek Fleet Command is a free-to-play 4X open-world MMO set in one of my personal favorite sci-fi universes, Star Trek. Explore the game's immersive starscapes, ogle at the incredible graphics, engage in epic battles with players all over the world, and step into the shoes of your favorite Starfleet officers like Captain Kirk or Mr. Spock. Your favorite Star Trek ships like the USS Enterprise.
Why is Bailey and Emily so freaking hit so freaking hard? Power of guns.
Civilized space as you experience the captivating storyline. With Star Trek Fleet Command's 5th year anniversary now underway, there's never been a better time to start. Download Star Trek Fleet Command using the link in my description on the provided QR code. Go to your in-game profile, open your settings, and sign up for a Scopely. From there, go to StarTrekFleetCommand.com and click Store to access your new Scopely account. And finally, once you are in the store, Access your promo codes on the left-hand side of the menu and enter the code Warp Speed to redeem your reward. Just remember the code is for new players only. Explore strange new worlds, seek out new life and new civilizations, and boldly go where no man has gone before in Star Trek Fleet. A very special thank you
Wow.
to Star Trek Fleet for sponsoring this video. If you take a close look at the CEOs of many of your favorite video game companies, you might notice something interesting. A lot of video game CEOs are emulating in their presentation and their choice of language the characteristics of the most successful CEOs in the wider tech industry. Oh, but everyone's doing that, right? Everyone wants to learn from success, after all, and tech is where the success is. Alright, you got me there, so darn fair point. But not every industry is like the tech industry, and tech itself is a big amorphous blob. Tech can mean a company like Apple, which is about 20% development, 30% marketing, and 50% religious cult. In other words, a company that produces a very specific style of product and relies on clever marketing and social manipulation to push that product. Tech can also mean a company like PayPal, which is the realm of fintech, financial technology. PayPal is not at all like Apple, but we don't really hesitate to call either one a tech company. Can you see where I'm going with this? If you want to emulate a successful CEO and you want to sell a video game, do you emulate? Do you emulate the guy who sells phones or the guy who sells loans? Which makes more sense? Well, naturally, the phone guy, right? You emulate Steve Jobs and you become Todd.
Just works seamlessly. And it works perfectly. It just works really. And one of the great things about having a fully dynamic game engine is all of this just works. It's not, I'm not kidding.
Extrapolate this out now one step further. If you are corporate leadership, which keep in mind often involves far more than just a single person and the CEO, and you want to emulate the governance of a successful company, which company do you choose to emulate and how? And what happens when your choice of emulation turns out to be the wrong fit, or turns out to be wrong in execution? Well, for years and years now, the video games industry, particularly in the West, which is to say not Japan or China or South Korea for the most part, has modeled itself after the biggest players in the tech industry, just as how video game CEOs often model their styles after successful tech CEOs. This shouldn't be news to anyone. Why, one of the traditional big three companies of the video games industry is Microsoft, a company which needs no introduction. Okay, but video games are tech, so it makes sense if video game company leadership acts like big tech company leadership, right? Not necessarily. Remember the Apple and PayPal comparison. Making a great video game, controlling your creative branding, marketing your product, achieving sales figures. These are things that work very differently for a video game company than they do for, say, Netflix, Samsung, or Oracle. But the video games industry emulating the tech industry is not just limited to Todd Howard adopting the mannerisms of Steve Jobs. We've also seen the internal corporate structure of video game companies change to become structured more like those.
That's a lot of items.
And perhaps more relevantly here, we've seen video game companies develop their financial strategies in the direction of big tech as well. I'll go into more detail on this point later in the video, but for now let's do some Finance 101. Let's say you start a video game company. What's the purpose of your company? You've heard me ask this before, right? You might start with the intention of making the best video games possible, but as the company grows, your business purpose de facto becomes make profit and grow. The company must grow because it has obligations to suppliers and clients and customers and potentially investors or even shareholders. If the company fails to grow, if it stagnates, it becomes unable to pay its workers better wages that experience demands. It becomes unable to fulfill its obligations to suppliers or produce novel new products for customers. To stagnate is to shrink, and to shrink is to die. How then do you optimize and ideally maximize your growth? You can choose to focus on making the best
of an
game
animal or
possible, and
something?
every video game company pays lip service to that intention. But that's very hard, and nobody can do that homework for you. You can bring on the best talent and have the most demanding standards, but so what? As we will see later in the video, having the best sales and the best games does not mean you have the most profitable, nor the most valuable, nor the fastest growing company. A much easier way to maximize growth is to focus on your investors, your shareholders. A game plan that you don't have to reinvent, merely copy. and almost no sector of the market has mastered the art of buttering up investors quite like that of capital growth. You see, is a term that is exactly as unclear as it sounds. Your company needs to grow, but what does grow mean? Finance isn't law. The definitions are often not logical but sentimental. Investopedia defines growth as an expansion, making the company bigger, increasing its market, and ultimately making it more profitable. But how exactly does one measure the increase in one's market share or the size of one's company? Well, you can try to do so by looking at specific numbers which are indicators of those larger concepts. Your company is growing in size if you have more employees, more offices, more sales. Your company is healthier, or at least investors think so, if your share price is up, or if your PE ratio, your price-to-earnings ratio, looks a certain way relative to your beta, your volatility, etc. But we won't get into the nitty-gritty. You're not here for that stuff. And quite frankly, most investors don't actually care about all that stuff either. In fact, as long as investors see that your company has more employees and more offices and more sales, a higher share price, etc., they will continue to invest. It doesn't actually matter how well the company is doing, it only matters how the company looks to other investors. And as an investor, as long as there are bigger suckers than you always make a profit. You might have heard this dynamic called the greater fool theory. You can even inflate some of those statistics when times are good by using techniques like stock buybacks, so as to give the appearance of extraordinary results. In fact, if you don't inflate your numbers when everyone else is inflating theirs, you might even look like you're falling behind, or being unsophisticated, and thereby incompetent. If investors think your company has the potential to grow, then you will continue to grow, even if you aren't actually making any money or doing anything. But you must give the appearance that you are doing something right, that money somehow is being or will be made. Don't get me wrong, making actual money and doing actual stuff helps, but it isn't required. As long as capital is coming in and building a pyramid up, the scheme continues. In any case, now that you know the fundamentals, it's time to talk about tech financing more directly. To summarize quickly what we have so far, video games and the tech sector are not just related, they are conjoined. Video games are a kind of tech, sure. The video games industry, particularly in the West, has made itself a facsimile of the wider big tech industry, copying the game plan of the most successful players. That wider tech industry, at times without understanding the mechanisms behind those decisions. But what is this game plan exactly? Well, the modern big tech financing game plan, emphasis on the big, comes to us from the crucible of the dot-com bubble. It's a very recent twist. You generate hype, get investors on board, you use the capital to expand rapidly, even if that expansion is merely for appearances, so that you can push the wave of enthusiasm and investors as far as it goes, and thereby maximize your capital inflow during the hype boom time. Then, as the enthusiasm reaches and peaks and begins to fade away, you will have hopefully stashed a substantial pile of ever-growing cash, which you are then supposed to use to cushion the shorter period of financial hurt that occurs as the tide retreats. You then announce some harmless restructuring, or more recently, you announce layoffs. And if you're devious, you can even use those layoffs to cut out expensive loose ends, maybe. And in so doing, you make it look like the company is cutting its excesses. The very excesses that you will recall you purposefully engaged in order to show extraordinary growth during the hype cycle. This gives the appearance of corporate mindfulness, which stabilizes your share price and boosts investor confidence, which you can then slowly spin towards the next investor hype cycle. This up and down movement is called a boom-bust cycle, and this is nothing controversial. This is how markets work. However, not every boom-bust cycle is natural, and the peak of the boom and the bottom of the bust can be and are manipulated to maximize profit and minimize loss in very cynical ways.
There's actually a bit of value for getting these.
It shows that Alphabet has around $120 billion in cash just lying around. It participated in the COVID tech hype cycle as all savvy tech companies did. Google expanded massively, was hiring like crazy, and was boosting that COVID hype as far as possible, and it paid big dividends for them. When people realized that the COVID quarantine period wasn't going to be forever and that lives would eventually return to normal, the hype cycle died. We saw Alphabet's stock drop from its peak around $150 a share to as low as $92 a share. Then here comes responsible Alphabet, cutting jobs en masse for the first time since the Great Recession, which stabilizes the price. Finally, the new hype train arrives in the form of AI and inflows the capital. The next push hasn't even started in earnest yet. We should expect that to arrive. Wait, what is this? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the 2018 cycle repetition here. Let me jump to 2023. Here we go. Now, to be fair, this doesn't always work out, even for the big dogs. You may recall that Facebook tried to push its hype cycle into overdrive. The metaverse changed, but messed up its timing and smacked face first into the floor. Mark knows how to play ball, though, and knows that a single mistake isn't a deadly one if you know how the plan works. You need the cash pillow to weather the tide going out, and to cushion any mistakes you might. And then you need to just wait it out until the next hype cycle train, and meta hit the AI hype cycle train timing perfectly. Umi, I can hear you say, isn't this all a little cynical? An easier explanation is surely that COVID created large demand for tech services because we were indoors and then suddenly we weren't indoors and now they're too big and need to downsize. Or that Apple and Meta and all these tech companies utilize rolling debt financing where one borrows hundreds of millions of dollars and has to pay down the debt, and rising interest rates cause that debt to be untenable and thus put these companies at risk of defaulting on their loans if they don't downsize. Well, as to the former point, what does too big mean? What are we downsizing for? Alphabet and Apple and companies like them are constantly complaining about not having enough employees. This hiring trend didn't start with COVID. The hiring boom in tech is a process that has been ongoing for the past decade. The layoffs or investor sentiment are a relatively developed, which is either Facebook or Microsoft's fault, depending on the past. And it has proven to be a more successful way to influence investor sentiment versus the old strategy of merely reorganizing and moving staff around. Concerning the influencing of investors in the hype cycle, well, the hype cycle is an observable phenomenon both inside and outside of tech and finance. Information technology company Gartner publishes something called the Gartner Hype Cycle for emerging technology. You can see that the hype cycles for real-life tech applicability have these very same ebbs and flows. The company can swim into the peak to push the hype higher. Since the trough reducing the bottom of the cycle, a company can maximize its profitability during that cycle rotation. As to the latter, concerning rolling debt financing, well, as we saw, Alphabet has $120 billion in cash and is not defaulting on its loans anytime soon. And you know it wouldn't be one of my videos if we didn't dig a little deep. Alphabet publishes investor reports where it tells you exactly what its liabilities are. Alphabet's revenue, that is money coming in, increased substantially in 2023 when compared to the same time last year in 2022. And while Alphabet's liabilities have gone up, the cost of their long-term debt has actually decreased, and in fact a lot of the increase in liabilities is due to, and I quote, reductions in our workforce and office space, which resulted in employee severance and related charges of over $2.1 billion. It costs money to excessively hire and cynically fire, but it brings in more from investors than it does in damage. Now, here's the caveat. What if you are a copycat CEO or a copycat board and you decide you want to follow Alphabet's example or Meta's example or even Microsoft's, but you don't know the game plan? What happens if you try to copy the dance but you don't actually know the steps? So the answer is trip. A lot of tech startups make it big by figuring out how to correctly hook into the hype cycle. They offer some new promising product or technology or way of doing business, and they manage to get investors interested enough that capital cascades upon capital, and before long, a unicorn is born. But being a master manipulator is only half the battle. This is a 3-step dance, and you must complete all 3 steps. Step 1 is to swim into the hype to accumulate capital. Step 2 is to swim against the trough, holding onto some of that capital to weather the hype fading. And step 3 is to hype again and swim into the new hype, richer than you were the last time. Having some actual sales and profits is nice too, but not strictly necessary. The tech company Palantir, please don't hurt me, has a PE ratio of 328 as of November 2023. What is a PE ratio? Well, a PE ratio, or a price-to-earnings ratio, is a company's share price relative to its earnings per share. In other words, it measures how much one share costs relative to how much the company actually earns per that one share. Palantir's PE ratio of 328 means that its average share price is 328 times higher than how much it made earnings per share. Palantir's current share price is $19.20. This gives us an earnings per share of roughly 6 cents. Palantir earned only 6 cents per share in the previous 4 quarters, even though the stock costs over $20 a share.
I'm pretty sure Abily has a skill that reduces...
PE ratio of 76 and 61. To give you a comparison, Ford Motor Company has a PE ratio of 6.8, and Sega Sammy Holdings has a PE ratio
Enemy
of
encounters, right?
7. So yes, making something helps even if that something is like 80%.
Apparently not.
What matters more for this strategy is hooking into the hype cycle. Once you have hooked into the hype cycle, you must know when the cycle has peaked so that you can prepare to swim the other way and cut. This means having a war chest and having room to lay off such that you aren't cutting crucial staff for appearance's sake, or worse, cutting crucial staff because you genuinely don't have capital left to retain them. If you push one rotation of the hype cycle too far, and just keep pushing the grow button hoping the investor hype never ends, you are not copying big tech, you are copying cancer, and at some point, the investors will die, and so too will your company. Apologies in advance to all the Wall Street bets folks I'm about to trigger, but your company will end up like WeWork. A once up-and-coming tech darling, which, quoting The Guardian, didn't belong to any predetermined buzz model, and wound up exploding, went from a stock price of around $500 a share in spring of 2021 to a price today of $1.05 a share. Or, for that matter, Peloton, which passed up both the cutting part and the hype cycle follow-through, and saw its share price fall from around $150 a share in December of 2021 to $5.27 a share as of November 17th. Wait, I hear you say? So you're saying that you don't actually need to make anything, right? Microsoft is just buying all these studios for the hype and not to make any actual games. Is that what you're saying, Moody? No. Making the games and having them be successful is a part of the hype cycle, and it can be a big driver. Of course you want to have actual revenue to show your investors, but consider the PE ratios I just discussed. As long as the investor believes you are growing and doing great, how much you are actually earning is far less relevant. But it's not irrelevant. Likewise, how much you are actually earning is also less relevant to your decisions to cut or spend than the win of your investors. As such, as we will see...
What, that's 118 damage, and they survived.
This is what will maximize capital in accordance with the cycle. Now, of course, this is all a vast simplification. I don't have a semester to teach you, just a YouTube video, so this is the best that we can do together. You've reached level 2, so don't forget to update your character sheet. It's time to apply our understanding of how big tech operates to the video games industry, more specifically, elevate the nuance a little. We're seeing layoffs and studio closures and shoddy game releases and more, but it's important to note that not every occurrence of layoffs or bad game releases or studio closures is happening for the same reason. The layoffs at Humble, for example, are not coming from the same place as the layoffs at EA Game. The so-called crisis at Embracer Group is not the same as the crisis at Unity. However, all of these different troubles, we'll call them, start at the same starting line, which is how these companies engage the tech hype cycle and how they all copy this to varying effect.
Nani? Thank goodness! Oh, it's hell down there! These wounds are terrible. We need to get him out quickly. Yuria Guild, we're taking him back to base camp. You look like you've gotten the hang of things. You'll be fine exploring without us now. Okay, time for us to head back with this fella. If you're going any deeper, make sure you're well prepared. The monsters below are even tougher than the ones here. If it's too much for you, get out as quickly as possible, alright? I'll go check the gathering points and then I'll bail immediately. Not gonna risk it right now.
In order to give you perspective on the troubles of the video games industry right now, I'm going to break down as many of these different troubles as I can into 3 broad categories. Category number 1 is business as usual. These companies know the steps and are dancing the dance. They might be copying players, but they've at least figured out how the dance is done. They are in the green. They are not subject to major protective crises. And it is very likely that this process of excess high playoffs was intentional.
Ooh.
Prove to you by showing you their investor reports. In this case, the layoffs are a cynical business decision. It's cruel, maybe, but it's business, and this is how the game is played. Number 2 is overbooming. These organizations try to copy the dance but haven't mastered the steps. Many of them are emulating the behaviors of Microsoft and Sony. And these companies and developers hit the hype cycle but try to push the hype too far and are reworking themselves to death. At some point, you have to start accumulating capital from the hype so that you can store it and use it to defend yourself. If you just keep reinvesting the capital back into the hype as the hype peaks and rolls over, your reinvestment meets diminishing returns until you starve. These companies didn't prepare for winter, and now they are in crisis. And finally, number 3, external factors. These companies, like all the others, are subject to the same trends as everyone else, and they might be downsizing or reorganizing for external factors that are beyond merely copying big tech business strategy. Now, before we break down each situation and look into the facts more directly, let's put together a contextual timeline, because understanding the timeline will help us to get a better sense of how aware of the curve each video game company has been. In July of 2022, Microsoft announced that it would lay off a little under 1% of its total workforce and that it would significantly slow its recruitment in the face of a potential upcoming recession. One by one, tech companies both in the gaming space and in the wider tech space began also preparing for the trough of the cycle. ByteDance, for example, Zhijietiaodong, the company behind Douyin, TikTok, aggressively downsized its gaming operations as early as September of 2022. However, a lot of the Chinese downsizing and cutting was occurring at the time, not just at ByteDance, but at MiHoYo, creators of Genshin and Honkai. This due not only to a foreseeable turning of the cycle, but because the Chinese government was cracking down on gaming at the time, making these earlier Chinese examples perhaps more of a number 3. One very early player in the layoffs game was a games developer who arguably jumped the gun on the turning over, but to jump the gun on the hype cycle to overstate you are welcome. That developer was Jam City. In August of 2022, laid off 17% of its staff, estimated to be hundreds of employees across the company. Most of those layoffs took place within their subsidiary studio Ludia, makers of the mobile game Jurassic World Alive. Jam City's spokesperson stated that the decision was, and I quote, a necessary move to enhance our flexibility and increase operating efficiency, better positioning Jam City for long-term growth. Just a year prior, in September of 2021, Jam City acquired Ludia for $165 million, financed as it was by a funding round of $350 million. The company also abandoned its plans to go public despite having a $1.2 billion valuation in summer of 2021 due to what they called current market conditions. And this occurred while a lot of other companies were still in their hype cycles. This company knows the steps of the dance and it has danced very elegantly. This is an example of a conservative and safer approach to number one, business as usual. No brinkmanship to squeeze the gains here. They left the hype cycle early, and I suspect we will be seeing more of Jam City in the future. Larger tech industry layoffs that occurred thereafter included Comcast, who shut down G4 TV just 1 year after G4's relaunch. Keep that 1 year number in mind. The same one we saw with Jam City. It's going to come up quite a few times as we continue. By late 2022, the layoffs were in full swing. We saw DocuSign and Intel and Oracle all conduct layoffs. Meta announced on November 9, 2022 that it would be cutting 13% of its staff. Layoffs that may genuinely have been worse than they should have been in fulfillment of the game plan because of, well, Meta. That phase misstep there. They tried to push the cycle too hard in the wrong direction just as it was cresting, and instead of squeezing more out of the cycle, they tripped. But, well, Meta has plenty of reserves and plenty of excess employees to selectively let go, and it was able to recover without issue and correctly play the next hype cycle without excessive damage. Stripe, Twitter, Salesforce, Amazon, Cisco, HP, and many other large tech companies also conducted layoffs in November. And Amazon in particular had a second, even larger round of layoffs in December into January. They are the most cynical of anyone. Alphabet, which is to say Google, Microsoft, and IBM conducted major layoffs in January of 2023. And PayPal, Zoom, Dell, GitHub, Yahoo, and Twitter announced more cuts and layoffs moving to February of 2023.
Right, I think I'm gonna stop here for now.
Slowed through the summer, and
Let
while
me just
layoffs are still happening,
do some
massive,
stuff.
system-shocking layoffs appear to be done for now. What does this tell us? Well, we can get a better sense of who is privy to the game and who is merely copycatting by seeing when they decided to execute their own layoffs. We can then use their place on the timeline to help us contextualize their actual business decision-making to see where in the chart to put them. If a company engaged in its layoffs before the big players did, or during the same relative period, which is to say mid-2022 to 2023, we have some evidence that they are dancing the steps properly. Jam City, for example, was in front of the curve and stated in no unclear terms that they knew the rules of the game. Microsoft and Amazon and Meta and Google might be cynical in how they've done layoffs, but they are the game makers. This current dance that everybody is dancing is one that they invented, so they are all in Category 1 as well. As we will see, though, not every company is privy to the steps, and many of them were late to the party, with the cuts having first overruled. Although this style of decision-making is reactionary by nature, their late realization of the changing meta means that they threw away good capital in an attempt to lure non-existent investors, thus causing the pyramid below to become unstable, necessitating measures that are genuinely detrimental to the long-term health of their company. With even more context in mind now, let's finally start going through the timeline, contextualizing some of the layoffs or closures, and placing them as we go along into one of our three categories. I will be primarily looking at game developers, but we will dip into games media and some other relevant organizations as well. Once we've analyzed enough of these cases,
Curious
we
how
can
these
determine together if the video
charts
games industry
work.
is collapsing, or if this is just the industry adopting the cynical corporate governance strategies of big tech while leaving behind the old way. A topic which we'll get to later in the video.
I see.
Now, I can't go over
I think it's better to just use materials, and I should just sell stuff.
The information, you should be able to figure out where the other companies fit on the chart yourself. Layoff information is pulled from videogameslayoffs.com, and information on studio closures has been pulled largely from gamesindustry.biz. In any case, here we go, starting with the layoffs. 2023's first instance of layoffs occurred with Wizards of the Coast, laying off around 15 employees on January 3rd. Wizards of the Coast is a super complicated situation, one that maybe warrants its own video. I'll summarize, though, as best as I can. You might recall that Wizards of the Coast ran into issues earlier this year concerning its open game license, the OGL. Well, that decision requires a little background itself. Wizards of the Coast is the company that publishes Magic the Gathering and owns Dungeons & Dragons. Wizards was acquired by Hasbro in 1999, and despite being treated at times like a forgotten subsidiary, Wizards was responsible for nearly half of Hasbro's revenue as of early 2022. The alleged mismanagement of Wizards and the potential loss of profitability for Hasbro became a point of contention for shareholders. led by Alpha Fox Capital Management, led an attempted coup against Hasbro's board of directors. Alpha Fox's plans were that Hasbro spin off its Wizards of the Coast digital gaming unit and better manage its allocation of capital. In what way? Well, Alpha Fox wanted Hasbro to get with the modern program, spend money to make money. Hasbro, meanwhile, defended those allegations by stating that this strategy was unlikely to create any value for the company. The coup was defeated on June 8, 2022, and shareholders re-elected the company's directors. The concerns of the activist investors, though, still had to be addressed until the board went ahead and pushed forward with some incredibly underbaked schemes to wrangle more money out of Wizards of the Coast.